Hello and welcome to a Musty Game Dev video. Today we're diving into the world of Unreal Engine for Fortnite UEFN and verse scripting to show an interactive NPC on my Fortnite island, Desert Acorn. Desert Acorn is a Fortnite island I helped build that's all about exploration and collecting the valuable acorns to restore the island. We are getting ready to release soon, but we need playtesters. So if you'd like to support, go to mustygamedev.com and scroll to the bottom of the page to find out how to get into the group and start playing the game. And if you could like this video and subscribe to this YouTube channel, that would go a long way to helping me on this journey. My Fortnite Island project set up here. It's called Fight, Collect, Survive, but the formal publishing title will be Desert Acorn. And so in the editor here, I have an NPC. Let's see, NPC here, an NPCs folder named Jasper. Got a bike spawner, conversation device, NPC spawner device, and a conversation button. So the button is just there to help us initiate the conversation. So let's actually check this out in game. All right, let's check this out in game. So I can go over here to Jasper, hit E to interact, and there's like dialogue options, which is pretty cool. Now I want a vehicle, but I need 3 gold. So just walk away. Let's get the gold that we need. There's 1. Cool. As you can see, this island's pretty big, so wandering around, just walking won't be too much fun. So we won't buy more time, but we'll buy a vehicle. There we go. Pretty cool. So let's see how this is all hooked up in later. And just if you don't know, you can always start launch a new session after you stop a game. Or if you need to push changes, you can push changes there. But if you haven't started a new Fortnite game, you can just, instead of stopping game, it'll say launch session, I believe. So that's just letting you know where that's at. So first thing that you need is an NPC spawner device. So I have one here. So we have infinite spawn, just in case the NPC gets killed, which is possible. We have a spawn limit of 1 because we only need 1 per device per island because it's a single player experience. And then spawn on timer, that's all set up here to go. So that's fine. And there's not really any other options I really need to worry about. There's no like custom script for this or a custom character definition. Everything just works the way it is out of the box. We do want to make sure that we enable spawn through walls and enable at game start. So the real beauty here though is the conversation device. This will set up our actual conversation type for the UI. So radio is what I chose. Then the name here we set as Jasper. These will just help to indicate that there's a speech or conversation available to have. And then we have like a range. And then to initiate the conversation, we have our button. So that is already been selected here. So that's this button right here. And so when a player clicks that button or interacts with that button on interact, it will initiate the conversation, which is our conversation bank. Our conversation bank is this one right here. So if I open that up, this is where we start the conversation. Oh, and this is the first speech that you saw when I played. Hey, adventurer, welcome to Desert Acorn. We can write anything we want for the story, and players can then interact with the NPC based on their responses. So we have like, who are you? That gives some backstory here. If you want to buy a vehicle, you go down this path. If you want to buy more time, so like Desert Acorn is like a time-based adventure. So you have like, I forget how many minutes you start off with. I think it's like 8 minutes or something like that. And so you may run out of time, but you can use gold coins to buy more time to extend your experience. And that's pretty much how it goes. So it's pretty intuitive. Like you can just add like another speech bubble here if you wanted to, like another response, but we don't need that. So let's delete this one. So in we get down to these conversation events, and this is where you can actually include some connection to your scripting in verse. So conversation events happen when you go down a certain path. So if you want to buy the vehicle, you said I need a vehicle, then Jasper responds saying it will cost you 3 gold coins. You sure you want to buy a vehicle? You can say either no, which will restart the conversation, or you say yes, and that will spawn conversation event number 3. Now, conversation events also can be here as well. So we see conversation event 2. This actually sets up the exit conversation already. So that's already kind of done and set up, which is really nice. So anytime you set up conversation event number 2, then it will know, okay, set this up as the exit conversation. But for conversation events that aren't set up like that, you can set them up in the code in verse. So event number 3 and event number 1. I guess it wants me to save, so we'll save it, even though nothing really changed. Okay, we'll just do a file save just in case. So to get to verse, you go click top at the top here, then go to verse explorer, and then I have everything kind of in my game coordinator device. Is not probably the best way to code it. It's all kind of like in a singular centralized location, but I found it easiest and best to just get it working like this. So we double click, open up the game coordinator device .verse file, and this is going to open up Visual Studio Code. All right, we have a lot of lines of code here, almost 400 lines of code. But the parts that are super important for us is we'll start up here. So we have, first of all, we have the Jasper conversation device. So we need a reference to this device for our custom verse device to know which device we're going to try to talk to or listen to for events. So this editable here makes it possible so that it's part of the editable UI in the Unreal Engine for Fortnite editor. So this will correspond to this is where we have folders to the game coordinator device, which is if you press N in the scene view, I guess is called. No, not N, F, then it'll kind of take you directly to the device you're selecting. And so right here, Jasper conversation device, and then it's set to the Jasper conversation device. So right there. You can also search for your devices here, and then double click, and then you can see it right there. So as you can see, Jasper conversation device is the property that's set up right here in the game coordinator device verse code. And we set it to public because we want this to be accessible to people in the editor. Cool. All right, so we know this is also of type conversation device, and then it initiates a conversation device here. So the next part that's important is that we have the Jasper conversation device, and then we say dot on conversation event. So we're looking for this event to happen. We subscribe to it, and we subscribe by saying, hey, we want to listen for this conversation event, and then we're going to call this function or method. I think they call them methods in verse. And the way that I found this out was by looking in the verse code that's provided to you by Epic. So if we look for conversation device, which is right here, and this stuff changes. So, Epic is constantly updating the code. So make sure to check your code every once in a while, like once a month, if you haven't looked at your project in a while, just to see like what changes have been made. But now we have this conversation device. It's also public, so we can have access to it in our code. And then we have this property here, this listenable property on conversation event. It's also public, so we can access it. And it will give us an agent and an int, and the int corresponds to the event number. So the numbers that we were looking at before in the conversation bank, right? So you can say conversation event, and you can set the number 1 for this one and 3 for this one. 3 corresponds to the fact that someone said yes, they actually want to buy a vehicle. 1 corresponds to say yes, I want to buy more time. So then we are listening or subscribing for this event. So when this event happens, then we will be ready to receive it. So we can search for this method here. And I should probably name it something else because now it's handling 2 different types of events. But essentially, we'll come in here, we'll get the agent, we'll get the event number. Agent is just like another type for like the player. But at the moment, we don't really need that player's information. So like, as you can see, we don't really use it in this method. But now we do this if statement to say if the event number is 1 and if the coins collected, so we're tracking the coins, the gold coins that you collect in the game. And so for purchasing a bike, it's going to be set to 3. So you need 3 gold coins to purchase a bike. So we save that to a variable. We do the if check here. If this is true, if this logic is true, if it's event number 3, meaning that they went through the speech graph and went down to the 3rd event, conversation event, and they have enough gold coins to purchase the bike, then we enable the spawner device, which is this thing over here. Once we enable it, then we have some settings on it that it will respawn vehicle when enabled. So it just automatically will spawn a new vehicle. So when we enable it, that's why it pops up. Then we will subtract the bike purchase costs from the coins collected. So like from the player's wallet essentially, and then update the game UI, and then end the conversation with the conversation device. And I guess that's where actually we use the agent right here. So that's actually pretty cool. And then that's how it all works. That's all it's hooked up. Um, you can do this. You can do some of this stuff with just editing in the editor itself, but I prefer to work within the code. So that's what I want to show you. Thank you for watching and listening, and take care.